Hi guys, and welcome to my race preview and qualifying review of the Hungarian Grand Prix, round 12 of the F1 2019 World Championship. And just a recap of the had an extraordinary race in Germany, which could have been the last German Grand Prix for a while, which I think is a scandal. Mercedes' drastic mistakes basically give Verstappen a win. So Verstappen's going to come to the Hungarian Grand Prix, which could suit the Red Bull circuit, which could suit the Red Bulls quite well, with full of confidence. So just some news about going around in the paddock. Hamilton gladly has recovered from his illness from Germany, so he should be straight back on the pace. Perez is very close to re-signing another contract with Sporting Point Racing. So no change there. Alfa Romeos were disqualified in Germany for giving too much advice to the drivers about clutch settings before the start, because the drivers have to work out for themselves. You can't give any advice once they've left the grid. They are appealing this. I don't know why, but obviously they are. Maybe they feel that was for a specific issue, which could lead them to say that they wouldn't have been able to get off the grid in that way. Otherwise, it's bread and butter. It's a bread and butter penalisation. Right, so Hungarian Grand Prix on Friday. Friday, obviously the weather played a frustrating part for teams as it limited their running for the race, because they do all the practice sessions do is gather data on the tyres in short run, long runs, to give them a sort of idea of what the best race strategy will be for the Grand Prix. Obviously, if there's rain, then there's very limited running, or very limited of what they can do. So yeah, you basically ended up with teams pretty much parking it in the garage and saving the engines. Before obviously the rain, we had a bit of dry running in FP1. No, actually, it was it was dry in all FP1. Sorry, Hamilton topped the timesheets in FP1. He, as Bottas, his teammate didn't have a very good session. He had power unit problems, which meant he was out for the entire session, which limited his further running even more, which will make any performance in qualifying extraordinary. Because it's also a strat where you need like good flow, good efficiency, and good confidence to attack the circuit. There was a spin by Max, and a few spins here and there, but he did finish a 10th off Lewis in second place, so you can see he's immediately on the place. Ferraris dominate the first sector, and throughout the weekend they were dominating the first sector because they have the power unit advantage. Some say they gave about 3 or 4 tenths on a straight line. But the rest of the circuit is not power dependent. It's not a very power dependent circuit, this one. This is why Mercedes have not been very good around here. And it meant that Vettel and Leclerc were losing Sector 2 and Sector 3, so much so that it looked like they were going to be off the pace for qualifying by 3 or 4 tenths, maybe even half a second. So you kind of basically adjust your car to fit the best sectors you can, or if 2 sectors are pretty much the same in terms of what they are, then you go for those settings rather than go for Sector 1. So it's like Spa. Sector 2 is all corners and technical, but Sector 1 and 3 are basically straight lines and flat out. So F2, there was an opening stages where Alex Albon had a crash as he touched the wheel on the grass. Very common mistake here in Hungary. It started off obviously dry, and in the dry runnings, Gasly out of everyone who's been having pretty much a poor season with Red Bull, struggling to adjust, especially with a teammate like Verstappen. He finished top of the timesheets with Max, though 500ths off, but he was on the medium tyre. So you could see the difference. Obviously, he would be on a pace advantage because technically the medium tyre is about 0.78 tenths slower than the soft tyre. Hamilton, even better than this, chopped it on the hard compound. He went third, with which he finished third, which was a tenth off the fastest time, which was on the hardest tyres possible, the hards, which are 1.8 seconds lower. So during the session, we heard that Albon had the medical checks at the centre because it was that big of a crash, needed to have medical checks. All clear, all fine, just showing again the impeccable safety of these cars in Formula One. It's why I say the safest place to be in an accident is the F1 car, not a marshal, not a steward, not a mechanic, not a member of the fans. The safest place to be is in the car, due to the impact protection that they have now. Again, FP2 showed again that Ferrari were just not on the pace. They rely on low drag, straight line speed sort of car that they don't compete when it comes to aerodynamic efficiency and slow corners. Whereas Mercedes have good power, though they're the 3/10, 4/10 off Ferrari, but they have a better all-round package. They focused on their weak areas like slow corners and aerodynamic efficiency for the fast-flowing corners. Hence why they've been so dominant this season. But again, obviously, it looked between, I wouldn't say Red Bull actually, I would say just Verstappen, because Gasly didn't look like he was going to challenge the Mercedes. So it looked like a three-way fight between Verstappen taking on the two Mercedes for pole position. This is how it looked like throughout the practice sessions, all three of them, to be honest. I mean, practice 3 was delayed by 10 minutes because we had the F2 race beforehand, and just before the end of the Grand Prix, there was a massive engine blowout by Boschon, which left oil all over the circuit. Instead of just pulling straight off the circuit onto the grass or down the slip road, he continued round the corner of turn, trying to think which turn is, turn 4, and then parked it on the inside of turn 5. So there was like literally trying to fix it with 10 minutes, with a 10-minute delay. Basically what they do is just put cement on it to try and cement it and give it, resurface it to give it more grip. But they literally look like a cement overload, because there was so much cement and people trying to rub it in that when they did start P3, some drivers went over it to try and clear it off, and some didn't, try to avoid it. But every time it did go through, there was a massive cloud of dust, which I've never seen before. I've seen it maybe seen it once or twice, but not on this scale. But about halfway through the session, that cleared up. It just shows how great the F1 cars can be at being hoovers in terms of clearing crap off the road. So by the end of P3, it was a good session again by McLaren. McLaren finished with Norris in 7th and Sainz in 9th. Alfa Romeo had Raikkonen in 8th, so they had a good session with Raikkonen. But McLaren again showing, though they thought they were going to be suffering this weekend, they actually thought they were going to be off the pace this weekend, but they've shown again how they're developing the car, how they're moving forward. And I think they're moving forward. Then they have every right to be above Renault, who are their engine suppliers. because their reliability has been better. All right, they made the one blowout in Australia. Less mistakes. Um, suits both cars, suit both drivers. For two very talented drivers. Don't forget, Carlos Sainz is also a very talented driver, and they've yeah they look like they're trying to move forward back to where they belong, which is up the top. Um, whereas Renault are still struggling within the midfield, though they look as a manufacturing team and a supplier for engines should be the ones moving forward. But after SP3, Saturday practice 3, not FP3, it showed that it was a toss up between Merckx and Verstappen. Or we should say the Red Bulls because Gasly's got the same car, but Verstappen looks so in the groove compared to Gasly. Gasly looks way off the pace, even slower than the Ferrari. So it shows what I wouldn't say talented driver because Gasly is a talented driver. Don't forget, right? He managed to finish fourth in Bahrain in Toro Rosso, which sort of gave him the seat. So it's not like he's not a talented driver. It's just Verstappen's even more talented. And yes, I am praising Verstappen because I do respect the fact that he's a very good driver. Don't get me wrong; he's one of the greatest drivers on that circuit, on that grid right now. But a lot of the time he's making mistakes, and a lot of the time, at the minute, he's getting away with them. Or he just seems to be in every incident that occurs on the circuit. We get into qualifying Q1, Russell, like big hand to Russell because he got that car, dragged the wheels out of it with the new improved package on the Williams, and got it 16th on the grid. When they usually finish 19th or 20th, he's beating his teammate through every practice session, for every qualifying session, and he's just shown again his talents as a driver and why he's the F2 champion. And I really do feel sorry for him at times when he's been stuck at the back of the grid. As an F2 champion, you would expect to be in a team that's in the midfield or fighting in the midfield, not to be sitting at the back of the grid, not being able to show your talents as a driver and why you won the championship. So good up, great for Williams at the see they're moving forward. Obviously, Kubica did finish last, did qualify last, but yeah, it's good steps forward, and I'm hoping they can build on that coming to the end of the season. Traffic caused a number of issues, especially at the end because everyone's trying to find space. And Ricciardo was just released into that traffic. So was Perez and Stroll, and they paid the price because they had to follow cars that were too close to them, and they finished. Ricciardo finished 16th, 18th, sorry, and Perez finished 17th, and Stroll 19th. At the end, the FIA saying they were going to investigate the incident. I don't think there's going to be any sort of time penalty or grid penalty because I don't think anyone did anything wrong. They're both on their out laps, so they all had the right to do it. So there we go. Q2, the top 6, they all qualified on medium tyres, which will give them the optimum tyre to start on for the race, so they can optimise the strategy and possibly go for a one stop. So that was all good for them. Another poor qualifying, like I said, for Renault with Ricciardo 18th, Hulkenberg only finishing 11th. Sometimes could be good because you can start on the tyre you want and not lose that many positions in the top 10, but still poor by Renault, and they should be doing better than this. They should be 7th and 8th behind the Ferrari, Red Bulls, and the Mercs. But it's either Haas over one lap, or it's It's either Haas over one lap and then they have a poor race, or it's the McLarens. So yeah, and again another poor showing by Haas with Grosjean out in Q1, I believe, and Magnussen finishing 15th. So let me just double. Hang on. No, Grosjean just got in, but and just got into Q3. Sorry, Magnussen finished 15th with Albon and his teammate 12th and 13th, and Giovinazzi 14th. So mixed day for Alfa Romeo. For qualifying, the first time one saw Verstappen get pole position and break into the 114s. Bottas was literally second, but faster by Hamilton by 100th of a second, but still in the 115s. So only like a tenth and a half off the Red Bull. And as predicted, the Ferraris were way off the pace due to not performing in sector 2 and 3. They were 4 tenths off in 4th and 5th, even though that the first sector they were top of the timesheets. So, but just the first sector is not going to win you pole position in this circuit, or any circuit, depending on how much advantage you gain on that particular part. Gasly again struggling. I think the car just is built around Verstappen. That whole team is built around one driver at the minute, and it's Verstappen. And Gasly's finding it hard to try and fight, probably with a different driving style and everything, to fight his way through. So he was off again in 6th. And second time runs, it was obviously going to be a three-way fight, and Max improved and got pole position with a 1:14.572, and I say 572 because Bottas was literally slower by 100 and a 8,000th off. Max Verstappen's time would have a 1:14.590. Is literally milliseconds could be gained anywhere on the circuit. So Verstappen finally has his pole position that he's probably deserved for a while back. Mexico 2018 should have got it. Monaco 2018 crashed the barriers, and in 2017. So yeah, he's been long overdue it, and fair play to him. Becomes the 100th different pole sitter in Formula 1, and it's Honda's first pole since Australia 2006, and it shows that Honda moved on. They've pushed on. They've improved under Red Bull. They've taken some advice, and they've now got a reliable power unit that can get in pole positions. Although it's not the fastest in a straight line, though they say they're level with Mercedes, but it can do enough to get in pole positions in race circuits like this one. So yeah, well done to them. Fair play. So Hamilton was 2 tenths off in 3rd. The Ferraris were the ones pretty much stuck, finishing 4th and 5th, literally about half a second off Verstappen, who in the 115s, and just never looked like getting near them. And again, Gasly finished 6th, which was just literally 900, nearly a second, off the pace of Verstappen, his teammate. So there we have it. That's all there for qualifying. It should be an exciting race tomorrow. Obviously, with a lack of data, they're not quite sure how long the strategy is going to be, if they need 2 stops or 1 stop. They've tried to give themselves the top six, giving themselves the best strategy to go on, but it looks like to be a fascinating Grand Prix. And probably a dogfight between Verstappen and the two Mercs. I don't think Ferrari are going to handle the pace of Mercedes and Red Bull over 70 laps in because of those two sectors that they suffer on. So yeah, I hope that obviously as a Hamilton fan that he could take off from third, like Vettel did in 2015 and gain the lead around the outside of turn one. There are known to be incidents from turn one to turn two, so we'll have to see how it plays out. But it's important probably for Verstappen gets a really good start. Honda, I don't know what's wrong with the power unit in that, but they have problems off the start. I mean, you saw it in Germany, you saw it in Austria, and Hungary is even worse as a circuit to try and pass. So if he does have problems, then it could be game over in terms of the race victory. So as a Hamilton fan, I hope that happens. But yeah, bring it on and bring on the Hungarian Grand Prix. I'll be back with a review during a week. And yeah, and I'll leave a like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. Who's going to win the Grand Prix? And yeah, and any questions over the news of Formula One or anything about Formula One, just ask because yeah, I'd love to know what your questions are and what you think. So leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys soon.